Hey, what's up? This is Jamie Kennedy, and you're watching the Hollywood Raw podcast, where we go into the ins and outs of Hollywood, from from wild stories to how it is on set.
Hey guys, welcome to the Hollywood Raw YouTube page. Make sure you drop a comment, like, subscribe,
do all the fun things.
Follow
everything. We're here to entertain you guys.
What are you waiting for? Hurry up, let's go.
Enjoy.
Welcome to the Hollywood Raw podcast. My name is Adam Glyn. Dax Holt, who is usually with me, is away still because he drives a Tesla and makes a lot of money. Me, I'm poor. I need to work. But have no fear. My friend Justin Foley, a fellow journalist, the hammer guy in the streets, past guest of our podcast, always hits a home run with us. Justin, how are you, my friend?
Doing well, man. Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
No, I'm excited to have you on the podcast because you're a good buddy. We've had great times together. We always love working together. And you do this thing where you're outside Craig's almost not every night, but a lot of nights, where it's like a live feed with you and our friend Joanne Delardo, who has this live TikTok. What is it? A live what is he do? Live feed? Yeah, he live streams outside Craig's, and it's so entertaining to see the characters going in and out of Craig's. From the autographers to the fans to the rich people that go inside to eat to even the celebrities. So you guys are just having. I mean, who's some of the cool people that have been at Craig's recently? Or has it been slow right now for the summer? Is it slow down?
It's been slow, but and Joe he goes all over LA. He does all kinds of years everywhere. He's all over the place. He's the joy of everything. So he's trying to just see everything and find the joy in it in a positive person. It's really cool. But the most recent big name that I saw at Craig's was Wayne Gretzky.
That's pretty cool. See, know what's cool about Craig's? You never know who you're going to get. You get like random celebrities. We don't have a place in New York that just gets like random celebrities. You might have Carbone, which is going to get, hey, Christina Aguilera's in town. She's going to go to Carbone, but we don't get that one place where you just hang out all night and just see the random people that come in. It's just not how the city works. And that's what, and I think it's so crazy that Craig's doesn't give you free food every night. They don't just give you a bowl of spaghetti just to go home with every night. Does Craig even talk to you? Does he
No, he's a great guy. He's a really, really great guy. He really is. He comes out, talks to us a little bit. He's a great restaurateur.
And have you ever asked him though, like, hey, listen, like we've helped you out so much. Like, what can we do here? Is there anything like I think I deserve a free meal, or is there anything he could do to help you?
I'm gonna ask him for enchiladas next time.
Yeah. That's an old joke. But what is there any way like you guys could like work on a better relationship? Because again, you've helped them out so much over the years. You put that place on the map.
I think that's just that place is the hot spot. That's just every time in history, there's always been these places. I think Spago is a big place back in the 80s. Now it's Craig's. So and it was Boa for a while. Now it's Craig's. He's a great restaurateur. It's a fun place to hang out. I like the ambiance, and I'm just happy to be there.
Well, Foley came out big today for today's podcast. He was like, hey, listen, let me reach out to Jamie Kennedy and see. He's a friend. I want to see if he'll come on the podcast. How did your relationship with Jamie Kennedy start? Like, how are you guys friends?
Oh, so I was working at TMZ, and every now and then there's a celebrity that you just connect with. You know that as well as I do. Your energy just matches, or you just pick up a vibe. And he's a really honest, good guy, and he saw something in me. We were talking, and he liked my questions, and we just bonded. And he's like, look, I think you're smart. What else are you doing? You can't just be doing this. And I'm like, well, I am writing and creating, and I have some other ideas. And he was like, let me hear them. And that was really cool because, he didn't have to do that. And so he took time to listen to my ideas and gave me some feedback and inspired me to get them made and stuff. So that was really, really cool. And that's kind of how our relationship started.
Yeah, I gotta actually move if we're watching on YouTube, I gotta move my thing right now because my computer is gonna die. But that's really cool. Thank you, Foley, again for getting us our guy Jamie Kennedy. I was gonna say James Kennedy, not the Vanderpump guy. We have
Jamie's the OG, and he's such a good dude. And I'm so glad he came on today. I had so much fun. Such an awesome guy, man.
Yeah, well, before we get to him, let's read a review. That's right. If you do give us a review, usually on iTunes, we'll actually read your review live on air. That's the best thing you do to support this podcast. We do have a review ready. This comes from Fit and Fab Rocks. You two rock. Thank you for being so authentic on your podcast. You tell it like it is. The two of you have great chemistry in your delivery of how you experience your craft. I now reside in Mexico and purposely do not listen or watch mainstream news outlets. Yet I love to listen to you. Keep me updated on entertainment, celebrities, and shows I used to watch. Muchas gracias. Thank you, Clara. Clara, thank you so much. Again, there's a thing with the algorithm where if people leave reviews 5 stars, it boosts you up the charts. So when you do that, it helps us out a lot. We don't do a Patreon. We don't ask you for 25 cents a month. We just ask for a review. It's super easy. Grab your partner's phone. Then we get to give you a name on air. It's a kind of a cool thing we do. All right, on to our guest today. I'm excited to have this guy on. He is a comedian. He's also an actor. He dabbles in podcasting. He's been in Scream. He's been in Malibu's Most Wanted. He had a show called The Jamie Kennedy Experiment. Our guest today, Jamie Kennedy. Jamie, thank you so much for coming on the Hollywood Raw podcast with Justin Foley, your friend Justin Foley and myself. How you doing, man?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm in New York. You guys are on the West Coast. You know, it's funny. I got to say the past few months have been really weird because every time, you know, Vanderpump Rules, everyone talks about Vanderpump Rules, and you hear the name James Kennedy. And every time I hear James Kennedy's name, who's on Vanderpump Rules, I think of you, Jamie Kennedy. Has that been like a blessing or a curse for your career in the past few months, ever since people have been talking about Vanderpump Rules and everything that's going on that show?
You know, I don't think it affects me, but I guess there's one thing that did happen is I did get a autograph request, and it was a headshot, and I looked down, and I opened it, and it was James Kennedy, and I'm like, that's not my hair. And I ended up signing it, and I said, hey, keep spinning on the ones and twos, and I mailed it back to her.
No one
other than that has said it. We're two different worlds, but I know that he's the other James. Well, he's James, I'm Jamie, but yeah, I've been hearing his name a lot.
So, Jamie, on this podcast, we kind of like try to humanize Hollywood. And I think you've been a really cool person as far as your background, as far as your career, your journey to making it in this industry, because you know more than anyone how hard it is and how much work you have to put in to make it. And when you graduated from high school, you didn't go to college, you came right to LA. What was your mindset? What was your strategy? Was it just to go to LA and just see whatever you just fake it till you make it, or just see whatever you could do, just do the grunt work to really get your foot into the industry?
I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just wanted to move to Los Angeles because I knew that stuff was happening out here, and I just said, long story, boring as I got to be an extra in a movie in Philly, and that movie like inspired me. And then I was talking to people, and they were like, you got to move to LA. So once I graduated high school, I was like, boom, I'm moving. And I saved up money, not much. I had like $1,500, and it was enough to put a down payment on a house. And I borrowed like another $1,000 from my parents. I mean, not a house, an apartment, as a you know, whatever they call that, a security deposit. And I just started looking. Like, I took a week and just looked around and saw it was like another world, and then just started looking for jobs. And then once I started getting a couple jobs, and I just did that, and I didn't know anything. I tell people I knew nothing. Like, anyone who tells you that stuff are liars. I knew nothing. And I didn't know what a headshot was. I didn't know what an audition was. I didn't know what a casting director was. I knew nothing. And it's really just trial by error. And I just knew that I didn't know if I wanted to be an actor. I didn't know enough about comedy. At the time, I was messing around with rap. Like, I didn't know anything. So I just wanted to be, like, important. I wanted to be like, ooh, I wanted to get attention. And slowly, by doing different jobs, I weaved my way around, and people were like, you're good at this. And so I tried with things, and then as they would try, and kind of molded me. People's opinions molded me. Like, you know, I never tried to do comedy until people told me, and then the reaction was good. And then, you know, acting, I took an acting class, and the reaction was good. So I figured out those are my two lanes. But I just knew I wanted to be in LA doing something within this business.
No, it's It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. But then, you did extra work, and it's funny, Justin, you did extra work, and you did casting for extra work, right?
Yeah, that's my first job out of film school was being it. Well, I yeah, but
more
it's funny.
competitive. It's more competitive than acting.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. It really is. But it's funny. I was an extra on this movie called In and Out, and that made me switch because I was going to like science and math way. But I knew I was like on struggle street with that stuff. My brain just didn't really go that way. And so I was an extra on this movie, and that gave me the bug. And then I was like, I'm going to go. And so I went to film school, and then my first job was extras casting, and I worked on Veronica Mars. I cast all the extras, and that is the trenches. Like,
wow, that's a good job though, dude. Out of college,
yeah,
you could have
That's a
been in the
great
Jim
college.
South agency.
But I just want to say something. Jamie was like one of the okay. I want to back up a little bit. The Jamie Kennedy experiment was the most. I'm obsessed with that. You did. My question to you is: you did so many different characters. You were so confident in all these things that you did, and all these different roles played. What point did you know? At what point did you have the confidence that you could do these things, like become these different characters and just go with it? Like, where did you get that from? Because that, to me, that's one of the most incredible things that I ever saw. Like, I don't know if people ever saw the Jamie Kennedy experiment, but you really did such a great job with that. It was so impressive. Like the roles you played, the different, like the outfits you wore, it was really cool.
Thank you, buddy. I mean, that was 12 years after I started my journey when I sold that show, and it was a pilot. And I had been doing stand-up for a while. And so when I did stand-up, I would do different characters in a different scenario. So when I would do that would be like, oh, this is a good character, and I put it in my wheelhouse. You know what I mean? And then I would do another character and work on it. So I had at least 8 or 9 characters I could do from stand-up. And then when we did the shows, like I pulled them out, and then they would write new ones, and they'd be like, your character is like this, and then I would like do a little research. And I don't know, it's just a mimicky. I've always been a mimic, I've always like listened to people and kind of mimic them back. So I don't know. And I think going on stage and getting feedback or going in auditions and maybe not getting the job, but the casting director being like, you're really good, it's not going to work on this one. Just those things are like, okay, I'm on the right path. So it's all just trying.
Was there ever, real quick, on that show, because there's so many interesting things that happened on that show and characters you played and the way you interacted with people. Was there ever a moment that was like stands out that scared you or made you be like, I'm going to wear a bad spot, or someone threatened you? Was there anything that really stands out to you that was crazy from that show?
Tons. I think one of the craziest ones was I did one in a golf course, and I was B-Rad, and it was like the 4th guy was the mark, right? So 3 of us were in on it, and they said, hey, this guy didn't show up. We got another guy in our 4th. And a guy would swing, and I'd be rapping in his backswing, and I'd be like, yo, his swing is kind of Sickelson, like Phil Mickelson. Don't call him Jack Nicholson, and the guy got so mad at me, and I just kept doing that. Like, we went through 2 holes, and then he said, stop it. And I said, this is who I am. And then he threw a putter at me, and then the putter missed. And if you don't even know anything about golf, the putter is the thick part of the bag. So then we said, hey man, this is the joke. And he says he was the only person that ever not signed. We had over 189 pranks. He was the only one to not sign, and he hated us. And we said, we're gonna be on TV, and he was like, fuck yeah. It was crazy. Golfers are the biggest liars in the world. It's not a gentleman's game. They're animals. They're scumbags. And send this to the PGA. They fucking drink. They smoke crack. And they lie. And he shouldn't have to be quiet. Okay, I golf. Golfers are the most crybaby people of all. They should be like the basketball.
That is true. That is true.
Mulligan. The mulligan.
Mulligan. They also use foot wedges all the time. They're crybabies.
Yeah.
A lot of them stink.
So when you do a prank show like that, do you go to them afterwards? Hopefully they'll say, hey, I'll sign the waiver. Do some of them, you're like, hey, listen, we'll give you $200. Like, where do you go? Do you first try to see if they'll just sign the waiver? Then say, hey, listen, here's $250, sign the waiver. Here's $500, sign the waiver. Like, what do you do to get that guy to sign the release?
No, it wasn't anything like that. Justin will get this one. So what we did was we just basically had people sign a waiver, and then we give them $100. I think at first they just signed the waiver, and then the next thing was like they signed a waiver, and we like took them to like this little area where they had like a coffee and like some lunch, and then we like gave them a waiver and a coffee and a lunch and $100. And then as the show got popular, people were so then we gave them like the coffee, the lunch, $100, and they're like our beautiful girls, per segment producers with Lori would come over and go, "Let me talk to you." And then so basically, I think they took the money. I was like $100 at the most, but people knew the show and wanted to be on TV. But it was like always nice to see two like young, beautiful segment producers like, "Hey, honey, listen, you're gonna be on TV." There was a whole lawsuit about it. Gloria already tried to sue all of us. I was on 2020. She basically said it's called Gotcha TV, and people weren't ready to sign, so they needed 48 hours to think about it, which obviously would ruin everything. But no, it was pretty chill until all this other stuff happened. California was a much more chiller state to get signatures.
Did you inspire Punk'd, you think? Did you ever talk to
Yeah, bro. Punk'd was a show that came on MTV. It was called before it was Punk'd, it was called Totally Effed Up, or it was another type of show. And I remember hearing about it, and they did a prank where they took like a dummy and threw it off like the roof of the downtown Standard, like something crazy. And they were like, and people were just like, and that was the prank. Like it was nuts, right? And so I guess they did a pilot, it didn't work. I guess they did another pilot and it didn't work. This is what I heard. But they loved Ashton. And after my first season, let's say 7 people on my staff said they're getting a job at MTV to do a new show, and it's only 5 episodes, and can they do it and then come back? And all jobs that they were going to do were like a step higher than my job because I had a big staff, and that show was Punk'd. So yeah, do I think that Punk borrowed some stuff? Sure, but it was different. I mean, it was just celebrities. They were taking Frankie Muniz's Porsche. But like it was just a time where when something happens. Like there's it's like what was that movie, that show on what's that sci-fi? That show, that
Scary Things.
show. Yeah, or whatever.
Yeah, with Tracy Morgan. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? So, Jamie, you've been very successful as far as selling your own projects, which people don't realize how hard it is to come up with a project and then to actually sell it, to actually execute, to actually have a team behind you, and actually not after that, all that, then actually get it on air. It's just, it's so hard. How many projects are made but never get on air? How, you've been a part, explain to me that process for like the Jamie Kennedy experience, for example, when you had the idea for a show and then got it to be on air. Like you came up with the idea. How do you get the meeting with the producers? Do you go to your agent first? Can you break it down how it works?
I had my agents. My agents wanted me to do TV. I wasn't really into doing TV. I'd done a bunch of movies. This is after, your initial struggle and all that stuff. So I had already done some movies, and then they signed the holding deal. So they're like, the WB likes you. Do you want to meet with them? So they signed me, and they would sign me to 6 months just to like come up and pitch ideas. And I said, okay, I can do that. And I had the idea. The best things usually happen by flukes, So we had multiple producers. We had a guy that used to run the Tom Green show. And then that didn't happen, and he was great. Then we had the guy who wants to be a millionaire. And then the idea of the show was different than I wanted, and we're different, and that was great. And then at the last moment, we got the producers from Mad TV, and they really, we really just clicked creatively, and the network said, we like these guys, and I like them. And then boom, we pitched, and then the network liked it. And so we did like a little test tape, You know, we did a little test prank, and the test prank just went amazing. And then from there, the network loved it, and they said, "All right, we're going to give you a half a season. You know, we're going to give." Wasn't even a normal order. It was like instead of like 9 or 13, I think it was like 7. And we said, "Okay." It was amazing, and that's how it started. But we started like with like step by step by step. So I had a rough idea. The network liked me. They held me. It's a much different game today. Totally different. This was 20 years ago. And then they kept meeting with producers. And that's how it kind of starts. And you have to vibe with somebody creatively. But, it's a totally different animal today, man.
It's so hard. Do you think, what's your relationship now with agents or managers? Do you think they're still relevant, or like you meet a lot of these guys, I'm sure when you're at the Improv, you're at the Comedy Store, a young person comes over to you, I'm an agent, I'm a manager. Is it a douchey vibe from these guys, or what's it?
Wait, what's this pod called?
Hollywood Raw.
Oh, okay. So do you ever watch any of my pod?
Yeah, well, I was going to get into your podcast.
I go off on this.
Yeah.
Agents as taxi cabs were disrupted by Uber, as deliveries disrupted by Postmates, agencies are disrupted now by really direct messaging and social media. My last 2 movies I've gotten paid well, and they didn't come out theatrically, but they're on streamers. That was all done with me and my lawyer.
Really?
I think agencies they're going to tell you they're super necessary. I don't think they are. I can tell you people that have blown up and then gone to agencies and they're still the same person. They were doing it without them. I think agencies don't make you hot. I think very few do. They're very good. There's very few people that pick they could see a gem, you know what I mean? A diamond in the rough. That's the way the whole thing used to be. It used to be you got with the director who was brilliant, like Baz Luhrmann. Like he worked with you in the room and like molded you until you got the part. Agents saw you roughly doing a stand-up set, and maybe you had some jokes that bombed, but they saw something and they molded you. It's just not the way a lot of it is now. So agents are basically these huge, just consider them like Target, right? And basically they're all sucking off this corporate nipple of Target. Well, they all have quotas and they all have what we call, like quarterlies. And if you're not hitting them, your job's in jeopardy. So it used to be if a manager or an agent would only survive if their client survived. So it was called you eat what you kill. Like what jobs do you get? That's how you get a $10,000 job. Your agent gets 1,000, you get 9. IRS gets half. We're doing this, baby. We're doing this together. It's not like that anymore. They have salaries, and they're it's a totally it's a fucked up system. And I don't know if you saw ESPN. They just had like 6 layoffs of like super high end on air talent. Well, yeah, that's ESPN. That is going to trickle over to the whole business. The writer's room is in a writer's strike, and I'm not going off because I'm kind of using the same comparable where writers are like, well, we want 12 writers in a room. Okay. That's just not going to happen. I mean, the economics can't sustain it. It doesn't mean some shows don't deserve it and should have it. Yes, but other shows, just not everything is going to be the same. So agents are the same way. I don't know if you see, they're all combining, what's it called when you can constrict, they just were, Gersh just sold half of their agency. ICM was just bought. So, it's going to be a very tight business of, I think the biggest movie stars in the world will always have agents, but even then the movie business is changing. So no, I think they're a lot less necessary. Long answer.
It's so crazy, dude. I got a call today, and this is the first time I talked. I didn't even tell Dax this. I got a call from a very, very, very wealthy person, and they're someone who works with a very wealthy person. They wanted to pay to have a dinner with Daniel Radcliff, and they're listen. Tell us the number. We'll pay. And that happens a lot in Hollywood. People are willing to pay to have dinners. It's a business. It's show business. And There's a lot of, we think celebrities have money. They have, they don't have a dollar compared to some of the money, some of the old money that's out there, some of the oil money that's out there. And I went to the publicist and I said, hey, listen, this guy wants, to pay to have dinner with Daniel Radcliffe in London. And they didn't even ask what the number is. They just said no. I'm like, are you stupid? Are you stupid? Like, first of all, the publicist lost out on money. They could have made 6 figures. Daniel Radcliffe could have made more money than he's gotten from movies. Did you even bring the offer to Daniel Radcliffe? That's what I'm curious about. Did you actually bring the offer to Daniel Radcliffe?
Terrible. Okay, dude, that's terrible. That's terrible. First of all, well, Daniel Radcliffe probably made $50 million. And I don't know what his relationship is with money. I don't know. I think he's very wealthy off of Harry Potter. I don't know what he's like as a person. But the fact that they didn't even send the offer to him is one of my biggest pet peeves with agents. It's the gatekeeping. The term of gatekeeping has never been more. And I think that would be disrupted. Now, there's a lot of people that would have been very angry that they didn't get that offer, me wanting them. So maybe he wouldn't. But yeah, I mean, how much money would it have been? Like $500,000?
I would say probably he could have got more than that. The guy actually had dinner with Messi, the soccer player. So if you're getting a dinner with Messi, there must have been some serious coin there.
God. That is what fucking agent is it? Put him on blast.
Well, here's my thing is too. Maybe Daniel Radcliffe is like, here's a guy who's willing to pay millions to have dinner with me and just with him and his family. I want to learn about this guy. I want to meet this person. I want to know what this guy's background is. First of all, it was going to be safe. You could bring it. You could sign NDAs. You could, so you couldn't publicize that and this shit happens all the time.
Bro, it's crazy. I think 50 did a bar mitzvah for $1.5 million. I mean, like, that's like normal. Like, they do these deals all the time. People play. Elton John has done super exclusive parties. So yeah, I mean, that's to not have that. That's why agents should go away. You're correct. The publicist fucked up. These lower level, power thinking, power hungry, just people. I mean, it's stupid. It's just stupid. It's closed mindedness. And what social media and the ability to distribute your stuff on apps and blow up off of TikTok is disrupting all that. And they're going to see more and more that people are just not going to give a fuck.
So, Jamie, I wanted to ask you, Jamie, you're a guy who's been around the business for a long time. You've been on all sides. You've starred in movies. You've you've been feature player in movies. When you get a paycheck, let's just say, for example, I'm just throwing money at, let's say you do Scream, you get paid $1 million. Do you pay a publicist? I guess you pay a publicist $7,500 a month for a 3-month retainer. Did you find that publicists were worthwhile for you? Did they help your career? Were they overpaid, or what was your relationship with publicists throughout your career?
Do you want me to just talk about that or the pay structure?
Everything both actually.
Let me go down here. So it depends on like what a project is, right? So let's just say I got, let's just say I got $30,000. Well, you don't really get a publicist until you start making, I think 1 year when I got like Bowfinger, Three Kings, and Boiler Room, and they were all within the same year, and I made like, I don't know, I made like $700,000 in a year in different TV spots. So, you're going to pay your manager 10%, your lawyer, your agent 10%, your lawyer 5%, right? Which is also a whole other conversation of questionability because some do the jobs more than others. So then when you start getting busy, you have a publicist. I never paid more than $3,500 a month. Now, I know they can go up or they don't usually go lower than that. They go up to 5 or 6. But I would look at like someone like Demi Moore or someone I think that was paying $5 a month, I was told. So I'm like, I'm not going to pay what Demi pays because she's in a lot more magazines, a lot bigger than me. So I was like doing half, right? So when you're busy doing movies after movies and you got award shows and People's Choice you're going to present, or you're doing pre-Emmys, and you just keep them on. So there might be a 2-year run where you just every month pay your publicist. And that's just the machine of being in the machine. But then you can go what they call off and take a little sabbatical and don't pay. I have a love-hate relationship with publicists. I will say that, again, they're kind of like agents, but I will say when I have the right publicist, they will kill for you, and I will pay them $10,000 to get some of the press they have gotten me. Because they're more of a kill what you eat system. I know there's bonuses at the end, but at the end of the day, they don't, unless they own the company, which is good. It's just that they only get their salary too. But they're usually young girls at UCLA, and they have like a boss that's been there for 10 years. And then they love it. They're drinking frappuccinos all day, and you're up all night, and you go to the Maxim party, and then you got to go and do the G4 awards. And it's awesome. Like, you have this like sidekick who takes care of you. So I've had some great times with publicists, but also, yeah, they can milk you and not get anything. So some of the best publicity I've had was when I did have some upstarts, young upstarts who are hungry, and then they have other hot clients, and they go, please take this guy because I'm giving you this guy. When Scream hit, we were all kind of young, and we all had a young upstart publicist, and he had a couple people from Scream, and the movie got hot, so we were lucky to kind of share in this glorious basking of Scream. But also Nev was already blowing up a party of 5, and so she was our shining star, and then we kind of all got some trickle off of that. So it just depends, but I don't mind publicists. You just have to negotiate with them, and they're negotiable. I had some of my friends, a girl, I'd pay her per article. She was awesome. She would say, I get you in this magazine $100. And I said, okay. And she was so good, she didn't take anything for trying, which I never get paid to audition. And then she was so effective that I said, here, just take some money because you didn't get it. You tried. So
I have a question about Scream, and you're a part. That thing is such an incredible franchise. You're part of this amazing ensemble. You also were obviously Malibu's Most Wanted. You were the main. It was all you. Is it better to be the main guy where it's all about you, or do you enjoy being part of an ensemble? Like, which one do you prefer?
I think that in our world, as you grow and you want to be the star, you want to be a movie star, obviously. But there is a less pressure of being a character actor, and you can just go your life popping in as 3rd, 4th, 5th lead. You know what I mean? But I think that it's just different jobs, right? Like, I love being the lead in the movie. You know what I mean? I love being the protagonist. So it just depends on the project. But ego-wise, obviously, you want to be top billing. Ego-wise.
Yeah. Do you feel a lot of pressure, though, when you're the lead? I mean, when you're doing Malibu's Most Wanted, for example, every single day you go to set, everyone, even the director, the movie revolves around you. Did you kind of feel stressed out in that type of situation?
Not really, because I had already done a lot of movies, and I developed that movie, and I was like sold that movie with my friend, and I was like, yeah, this movie has to work. The pressure was like to become a successful entity of like, can I be the next comedy name? You know what I mean? So that was our pressure. But like, I had a great director, and we fought a lot, but that's why he's great, because he would not let me get away with everything. And so I would want more takes. Come on, we have more takes. Like, I'm the school of Keenan Ivory Wayans. Keenan is always like, try. And that's what I want to be able to do. But if you only have a limited budget and limited time, and there's a lot of different actors, you got to get your days. So he would be like, you're going to get 3 takes, man. Pick your best ones. So he taught me a lot. And there's pressure that way. And then obviously there's different levels of pressure when a movie's getting cut, the right choices, and the pressure of like when it released. So there is, but on the set, I was feeling myself, but also pressure of like, we got to get our days.
I'm sorry, Foley, what were you gonna say?
Real quick, you mentioned something earlier about you don't get paid for auditions. There's actually a huge debate right now about whether or not actors should be paid for auditions. It's a topic of discussion. Where do you fall on that debate?
I've had arguments with managers about it. Like, you do a lot of work, dude. I've done I went in for a movie. I don't want to name it, but like I went deep in the process. I went back 2 and 3 times. I was shooting another movie in San Diego. I drove back early. Then I had the screen test, and they liked my screen test. And I went to what they call a certain school for like 2 days to learn this dialect. At the end of the day, I did not get the movie. The movie wasn't huge, but it was definitely a big movie for a studio. Do I think I should have been paid? I don't know. Probably not. Like, I don't know. That's what it is, right? But like, I don't know. I have to think about it. But no, but I'm saying it's like managers. I don't think if we get paid, then it's going to enable the representatives to get paid. I think the argument should be salaries should go away, and people should just get paid for what they get. Like, that's really the truth. Or treat actors, but then if you have actors who are getting paid to audition, people are going to book like 5 auditions a week and just become career auditioners.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I personally am old school. Probably I wouldn't think you have to get paid, but also other people shouldn't get paid either.
You know, you've been like we spoke about. You've been part of some pretty big franchises. You know, let's just say Scream, for example. I don't want to ask. You know, I don't want to be too dead on and ask you what the number is, but roughly from the residuals, do you make under or over $30K a year from the residuals from Scream? And I'm just curious because it's played so much. Because you always see people show off a check. I mean, even Foley just did one he just did a Veronica Mars episode. He got 7 cents. But you're a major part. Do you get like do you make at least under 30 a year just from Scream?
I don't know. I think I don't know. I really don't. I think I probably make maybe, I don't know. I think I probably don't make 30,000 off of Scream a year. I think I probably make good, but not crazy. But I have a lot of residuals that add up. But maybe Scream. I don't know what Scream is. Maybe 10, 12,000.
That's still good money. I mean, honestly, it's a great check every year.
But there's a lot of different movies that pay, so I do well. Like, I'll probably make $100,000 a year in residuals, maybe.
That's awesome.
But like different. But like some of them are movies that you never heard of that done really well overseas, or Scream does. I do get big checks around Halloween, but it's a cluster of checks, so it's not just one project. But Scream, listen, I'll give you an example. The first check I made in Hollywood for Scream was $18,000 for the movie. My first residual check was $31,000.
Wow,
that was insane. Yes, wow. So that was the true insanity. Now it goes down through the years, and it goes less and less and less. But then, as new systems come out, like so, if there's like a new horror streamer or something, and they want to buy Scream, and there's a big payment for it, then I'm gonna get a new windfall, kind of like how Friends does it.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's I never knew how that worked. That's it's very unique, and it's hard to actually follow. Like I bet you can't even keep up with it, or can you?
No, I have it all tracked to my account. Basically, SAG is amazing at it, and SAG just goes, boom, here's your monthly residuals, and you'll just get an alert in your email. We're about to deposit, $3,300, boom, and then it'll have a list of all your residuals. Ghost Whisperer, Criminal Minds, Reaper, it just has all different things.
Jamie, it's funny. You've had a really cool career, because it's just like it's a matter of just talent meets hard work, and you've put in the hard work, and obviously you're talented. And it's not you were born with some talent, but you worked at the talent by going to stand-up clubs every single night and just kind of honoring your craft and trying to be the best performer you can be, which shows in your film, which shows on TV projects, and you still do today. Through that, I'm sure you've had some incredible experiences. Who was the coolest person that you've got to party with over the years? The one you're like, man, that was pretty awesome. That was an epic night.
Party with? Party with. Wow. Party with.
The one when you're like at a bar or a party, and you're like, dude, I can't believe I'm having drinks with this person. We're kind of vibing. This is pretty dope.
I would say
the one you almost want to brag to your buddies about, like, dude, you know who I was with last night and hanging out and having drinks with?
I've had
Coolio.
some
No, no.
amazing parties, which is like I don't get FOMO. I just saw some 4th of July party pictures, and I was like, that's not bad. It looks like a pretty good party. But it's like the party is about like what you wanna, the fun you have, and I'm gonna say, I mean, some of the best times I've ever had was at the Playboy Mansion, and I would say probably the summer of '99 was the last time I remember at the Playboy Mansion. So it's like 24 years ago, where Hef was just back, and it was the Midsummer's Night party, which is like his #1 party. And that party pretty much had everybody from super, super exclusive movie star to beginning reality star, and everybody in between, to music stars and athletes. And that was a baller time. And I just remember going to that party, being on the dance floor, the DJs. I think Too Short was out there, was kicking it. And then, at 2:00, when the party would end, they rolled out a whole new thing of food and like amazing, and it just hookah pipes. And I don't think I left until like 5. I think I was in Mel's Diner at 5:30, and it was me and my boy. I'm not gonna name names, and then like a couple of girls in like pajamas. It was the best. And then we went to like my house and hung out after that. Like there's too many people to name, but anyone you could think of was at that party. A lot of people, and that was a golden time because there was no phones, no weirdness, good vibes, and just like people, like sexy people want to have fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Everybody
I
was
get it.
about it. And there was no like 2:00, the lights didn't go on.
Yeah.
You when you're there, the girls, obviously, here's my question. Because comedians get girls, right? Girls always say they want a funny guy, and comedians get girls. Do you know when you notice when you're there? What type of celebrity do you think gets more girls? Is it the musicians, the athletes, the comics? Like who are they gravitating for? That's what I
First of
want.
all, you can't even ask this question anymore. It's illegal. You can't like women anymore.
Yeah.
Ooh. Honestly, yeah, I think rock stars would always be #1, right? Like, but don't hate on actors. They're sneaky with it, obviously. Comedians are low key, killers with it. I actually want to say though that like baseball players are like kind of tops. Like baseball players really, and hockey players are actually the toughest dudes along with baseball players, I think. I mean, obviously football, but hockey players fight all the time. But they are actually, see, a lot of those guys are married actually and like good dudes. But like hockey players and baseball players low key are up there with rock stars. But comedians will always be fine to take, some leftovers. Can we even have this conversation? It's probably against the law now to even groupies never. I know it's a joke. Remember, like you can't even say like groupies existed. Like that, there was something called groupies. Like people are so like in denial about it. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask this, Jamie. That goes into my next question for you is, once you started to get a lot of fame, you became a public figure. People are covering you. The media is covering you. How did that change, like dating for you, especially in LA, like with girls, where you're just getting a whole different type of caliber of women? And how do you kind of like mindset go into it? Because these girls are sort of opportunists. Because if you were just a struggling actor, I don't know if you'd be getting those type of hot girls.
I love you just said that. Canceled.
Yeah.
Are you calling females opportunists?
There's some.
No, here's what I would say is that it starts from nothing and then you get everything. So, basically, I mean, it's a weird world. It's not like, I don't even know how dating exists anyway. I don't know anything about dating. Like, I never really dated. You know what I mean? It's like, I've been doing this since I'm 23, and it was like, I really didn't get any chicks. And then all of a sudden, when you get on a set or something, they're the most beautiful people and women in the world, So if you're doing a scene in front of a Panaflex, people are like, ooh, who's that guy? So I think you just meet people on set, and that was always wonderful, or co-stars or people in the project with you. And then you start going to events, like Justin would be outside, and you'll go to different parties and you just talk to people at parties. You know how it is. And that's how it really happens. It just happens at like that way naturally. So then if you are, but you stay within the circle of Hollywood, right? And it was a different time. So if you're going out, and what I want to say, and like if you want to go off campus, if you will, and be with normal, people not in Hollywood, then I mean that's probably even easier, right? Because people see you and you're like, oh my God, and whatever. If you're at the Chili's and the hostess likes you or something, I don't know. But like now it's a totally different game. Like once, I didn't have a problem in MySpace. I think I don't think the cell phone once the cell phone pixelating really got good, and once the snitch culture came in, and the snitch in the way of like, snitch culture is I have no talent, I have nothing going on in my life, I don't know anything. All I'm going to do is gossip about somebody that does. And if I look important by exposing something about them, good, bad, or indifferent, then I'm important. Once that happened, the whole thing changed, because basically there was like, it was a code, like what happened here stayed here, and it wasn't bad. No one was like, at least in my world, no one was harboring any criminals or anything. People were having a good time. Did they take some pills and stuff? Sure. Was everything consensual? Sure. But like now, honestly, bro, it's fucking bizarre out there. You could fucking hook up, and there could be a whole fucking dissertation about you online, and I mean it's wild. People are writing about anyone. They're going on TikTok and just saying this person did this to me, and if anyone says anything now, it's just truthful, right? Like no one believes to investigate anything. So it's a much different time. It's good to expose bad people, but sad that there's a lot of overcorrection.
Yeah,
that's a great point. The overcorrection.
What is, you've been to a lot of award shows, I'm sure, over the years. What was the best and what was the worst?
These are a lot of questions of like super specificity. I would say I've had some good times at the Golden Globes. I'm going to say that. I've had some good times at the Golden Globe. Some of the best. I've had some great after parties at the Oscars, like gone to some amazing, gone to Vanity Fair a couple of times. That was awesome. Before, like, it was just chill. It wasn't like so wild. But again, everyone's still kind of a little bit like on their game there. Well, you want to go to the after party, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would say, bad ones. I don't know. I have to think about it, but there's some good ones. I don't even know. Like, I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. Like, are parties still raging the same way? There's no way they are, right?
Did you ever go to the Scream Awards? Because I used to work there, and those were so fun. Did you ever go to those awards?
I think I did something called the Chainsaw Awards, which might be before the Scream Awards, which I hosted. That was a good party. I would go to Guys. Remember Guys on Beverly?
Guys.
They used to have some amazing after parties. I don't know. I would think like there's some good parties. I don't even know, are people partying like they used to party?
Probably not. No. Too many cameras.
Right?
It's not fun. You're looking, it's funny, Jamie, we're talking about this because this past weekend, it was all over the news. Michael Rubin had a party. It was an all-white party in the Hamptons. And there were so many photos being taken there. And at first you're like, it's cool. And then you see all the photos. Then after a while, in my opinion, I was like, oh, this is sort of gross. Because you're an LA guy. Guy Oseary has an infamous party at the Academy Awards every year. And it's a crazy big party. But you don't see photos from that party. You don't see, it's sort of like mysterious, which makes it actually a little bit cooler. You're wondering like who was there. You hear about the names there, but you don't see photos of it. So in my opinion, I kind of like, to me, what gravitated my fondness of Hollywood is the mystery behind it. You want to know what was it really like.
Well, I think that And dude, I so agree with you, bro. And it's a disruptive system now. And I think that you're right, man. Like you know, yeah, you can't really, there were no cameras. There aren't any cameras, you know? And I think that's like what it was. It was like this thing that you hear and you talk about. There are no cameras at the Playboy Mansion. Except, you know what? There was one photographer at the Playboy Mansion. Guess who it was? The magazine. And they would ask you, hey, can I take this photo? And then they would show it to you and you go, that's cool. You know what I mean? And then later on, they would send you a release if you wanted to be in it or not. It wasn't anything like that. But that's like content that Hef did. And it was simple, right? And it was an honor. But like, yeah, I think that I think, yeah, you know, I think everything is on display now, and I think the mystery of Hollywood is gone, and I think that is sad. I think it's good to expose a lot of things, but I just don't know if Hollywood is as special as it used to be. I don't want to say that, but I love it, but I just don't know anymore.
But is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Like, what's the silver lining from all this technology? Like, do you see anything good coming out of all of it? I mean, I know one of the positives is that the barrier to entry is gone. You know, the old guard of blocking people discriminating people from getting into Hollywood and all that is gone because of technology. But is there another silver lining that you see from all of this?
I don't know. Like, I think that it's, yeah, I mean, I think the creative people are gonna create, and I think that you gotta be, if you have an idea, you can create it now very simply with cheap technology that could be very good. And distribution will be where you can find it, you know, between streaming platforms, between like high end, like, you know, Netflix, which is very selective, and then like Tubi, which is more, you know, they still have amazing stuff, but they're just less of a gatekeeper. So I think it's all disrupted, quite frankly, and I think that people are just between OnlyFans and Patreon, and you know, you know, people are talking about putting their podcast on Twitter now because YouTube is becoming so what's the word? They're censoring. So I just think, I don't know, like, dude, this summer is a crazy summer. Like, they're waiting on Barbie to come out and Mission Impossible to come out and Oppenheimer to come out. Like, but they say that movies are kind of underperforming. So I think that it's a whole, I don't know. We're in a different time right now, and I think that we have to decide where it is. But in terms of like, you know, this is a TV star and this is a movie star. I mean, it's few and far between now, right? Like, because you got people like, well, this person just made 40 million on OnlyFans. You're like, who's that? You're like, I don't know, but they made.
I had to do I worked the red carpet doing photography, and they're coming through, and no one knew who anybody was. They're holding up these names, and you go back, and they have like a huge fan base on social media, but no, I didn't know one person.
Some guy, I don't know who it is or what his name is, but I think he was a big Twitcher. Okay. I believe he just got $100 million to just do exclusively his show on Kick, which I don't even know what Kick is. So it's like a wild time. So yeah, I don't know. What's this? I think traditional Hollywood will always be there in terms of a legacy, but I don't know if it's going to have the same amount of eyeballs. I think it could just be like, you're going to have the Snappies, the Snapchat awards, you know, you're going to have the Fannies, the OnlyFans, you know what I mean? You're going to have they have the Webbies. I think kind of everyone's going to have their own little thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I think. Yeah, sorry.
It's weird. We're all trying to figure it out, and there's no.
But I think you can always make money at it, and you can build your own audience. I'm lucky because I'm a brand. I tell people I'm like Snuggles fabric softener. You know, I might not always be hot, but I'm always on the shelf. You know what I can do. So it's just a matter of making your own name, cultivating your fans, and those fans rolling with you with whatever you do. If you're making a music album, bam, and then they're following you on tour, and a movie. There's vice versa, that type of stuff.
Yeah. It's funny, to wrap this up, what we kind of spoke about is some of the stuff you kind of speak on your podcast. Hate to break it to you. How would you explain to people what exactly you do on your podcast?
Hate to break it to you, it's just like a rant about like how it really is kind of like what you're talking about and different things. It's my take on the world, my take on things. But like in terms of Hollywood, it's just, Hollywood is not the same as it is. And it's like, I try to be really transparent. Like you can ask me numbers. I don't mind. I always tell people what I make, and it's the gatekeepers was where the secret formula was like weird of like, why is this person getting a job and why isn't it now? But that's different now. Like you can make, I just did this movie right here, Don't Suck, for $600,000. We got a couple of offers, but we don't like them. So now we're gonna try to release the movie independently ourselves and go to 10 theaters and then work from there, and make a name. And if the movie theaters can sell out, then we'll expand it, So that's what I'm about. I help put the movie together. I believe in it. It's really funny, dramedy, if you will. So we'll see. My podcast is about that. It's about just like exposing like kind of what you're doing and talking about, things aren't the way they are. And just like, if you're going to do this business, there's no like, mommy, may I have $1? Discover me, at CVS. You can't get discovered at CVS anymore. You want to know why? It just closed. Yo, remember Schwab's? Remember Schwab's?
Yeah, they closed.
The Schwab's on Vine and Sunset, where like Lana Turner was discovered. They redid it because they made it like Sex Old Hollywood. They just closed it because of vandalism. It's so fucked up.
And then they're blaming everybody else. What's this guy?
It's crazy. If you go to my balcony right now, I'm in a condo because I'm like sold my house and I'm waiting to buy a new house. And you can look to the left, you're gonna see the Hollywood sign. It lit up for about a week. Did you guys remember this story? And then a bunch of Karens got together and said it was too bright. So they turned it off. So there's no more Hollywood sign at night. What does that tell you?
That is insane.
Hate to break it to you.
There you go.
I love it. No,
I want to say something real quick. They always say, would the Beatles survive? Like, would the Beatles, if they were around today, would they make it? And I think the argument's always been yes, because the music is just that good. I say so. And I say, good. Would the Jamie Kennedy experiment make it today if it was starting out now? And I say yes. I think yes, because of
people love it, but they would be offended by stuff for sure. You know that.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, whatever this message is or this pod is, if you're creative, there's a lot of ways to put it out through Audible, through Instagram, and then grow your audience, whatever you're doing, whether you're writing, comedy, music, whatever. So I think you have the tools now to share your creativity. I mean, Billie Eilish, I believe, was, popped off of SoundCloud, so it's like a wild time to be alive. But the traditional gatekeeping is, I believe, done. And I think that's only a matter of time. But just like all of us looking at one person and idolizing them is going to be less and less, I think, because I think we're narcissists. So we're like, why aren't I special? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Jamie, I really appreciate coming on the podcast. It's, as a guy who I grew up on and now able to talk to you for close to an hour, it's really cool for me to follow Jamie and keep up with his movie, just everything that's going on in his life. Go to his website. He's also on tour, jamiekennedy.com. Make sure you follow him on Instagram at the Jamie Kennedy to keep up with tour dates, follow him on his podcast. Hate to break it to you. Best of luck with the movie. I'm excited to see when you come to a theater out east. Keep crushing it, man. It's really cool to have you on the podcast. And thanks for being real, dude.
Thank you, bud. Appreciate you guys.
Foley, that was your friend. The first time you guest hosting. I guess second, but the first time we had a celebrity on, besides Yuri. How was what you think of that conversation?
So fun, so great. Jamie's such a real dude, man. I love that guy. And when I was working at TMZ and I interviewed him, he just was such a gem to me. He was such a nice guy, so cool. So this is a great opportunity for me to like get a chance to interview him in a different capacity, where things are more, a little more chill.
What was your biggest takeaway from that interview?
that things are changing rapidly in our business, and Hollywood is really changing, but that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is that you can get content out now that you want to get out. There's no more excuses for your projects to not get made. You don't have to rely on anybody else. You can use the resources at hand just like everybody else and get your message out there.
Yeah, it's for me the biggest takeaway is you always see celebrities post of their residual checks, and it's like 2 cents, 15 cents from this movie. Thank you. But he's like, no, I make over $100,000 a year probably on residuals from all the projects he's done, which is a lot of money. So it's pretty cool that I didn't know how that works, but he makes good money every year just from residuals. Now, of course, that money's going to go down every year, but once a year when you get that paycheck, it's probably a really nice paycheck. Like, oh, that's pretty awesome.
I made $12 last year.
Yeah, it's cool. Foley, thank you for helping me out today. People, make sure you check out Foley. He's always doing these with a friend of ours on TikTok where they do outside Craig's. It's just really fun live. It's like they're almost doing their own press conference outside Craig's every night. And it's live feed. It's really cool. Foley, where can people follow you on Instagram?
It's the letter I, the letter M, Justin Foley. I'm Justin Foley.
Very cool. Make sure you follow us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. We have a private Facebook group called Off the Record where you guys could ask us questions. You guys could ask each other questions. It's a really cool community. But thank you guys for that. Make sure you leave a review if you're watching on YouTube. Like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.
Guys, hope you like that video. We got a lot more where that came from.
Hit that bell, like, subscribe, share with a friend. The best thing you do to support us is really doing that. And we really need the money because we need hair gel.